Hello, my beautiful divine masculines. Hello. Today we're going to be talking about manipulation. Very important topic. Very important topic for divine masculine. I am going to be focusing on these topics from a perspective of divine journey. It's not like divine journey is that much of a different when it comes to specific woundings and healing specific woundings, but we do receive an ultimate beautiful gift of our mirror, magnified mirror of the other half of our soul, to really see very deeply into certain wounds. And the role of the masculine in this journey, not just through twin flame journey, but role of the divine masculine is to restore divine order, is to restore the healthy relationship between the feminine energy and the masculine energy, both internally, externally in a relationship, and in this world. So the healing journey of the masculine is a little bit different. So we're going to be looking at these woundings from a perspective of a masculine, from experiences of the masculine. And I also want you to remember that the journey of the masculine and the objective of the masculine is to break the matrix. And in order to break the matrix and start building new earth, the masculine needs to really get to know the matrix and all the gunk of the matrix, right? So today we're going to start from manipulation. And there's a specific pattern that the masculine gets stuck in, right? Are beautiful masculines. Because the journey of the masculine, remember, us feminines, we heal on the level of a soul. Our journey is the level of a soul, is healing the soul, understanding the soul, returning to our feminine, returning to the connection to God, right? Whereas for you, it's removing the illusions of the matrix, breaking the matrix, restoring the divine order in the physical world, right? The order of truth, the order of honor, the order of loyalty, the order of commitment, the order of true divine protection, and coming from that masculine power here on earth, right? So because of that, and I talk about this a lot in my videos on TikTok, in my collective readings, when I read for the masculines, that because of that, you part of your journey is to break karma, clear karma, okay? Break karmic contracts, clear karmic patterns, really understand, because karma is something that is an earthly thing, a physical thing. We build it. It doesn't belong with awareness, right? It's something that is built through the physical world. So you really need to understand it, and you really need to break that, right? So because of that, the masculines, unfortunately, from the moment they're born, because we're set on this journey from the moment we're born, well, actually, through all our lifetimes. If you're interested how it plays out from a step, taking a step back, you can go to the Divine Feminine playlist and watch an episode about past lifetimes for twin flames. But the moment you step into this lifetime, right, your soul knows it was planned that you will one day meet your divine feminine, that you will be both awakened to the journey, activated to the journey. You will walk the path of the journey of twin flames to complete the mission, right? And that mission is collectively for our twins to restore the divine order, to assist the great awakening. And you know that you unfortunately will have to go through a lot of karmic relationships, right? It doesn't mean that masculines, you don't have any beautiful soulmates and any beautiful connections with you on this path. No, you do. But you have a lot of karma to clear out, right? So oftentimes masculine is raised surrounded by distorted energy. by distorted masculine energy, by distorted feminine energy. If you don't understand these concepts, again, I invite you to watch the episode that I've done about masculine and feminine energies. What does it mean, healthy and distorted, and how they should work together? So you are surrounded by distorted energy and distorted order, right? And we know this. I don't think it's something that I have to explain to you, that who we are, perhaps I do, who we are starts in childhood, right? Our parents, our caregivers, whoever takes care of us when we're children, those people are like gods to us. They create our reality. We don't undermine whatever they do, whatever they say, because we don't realize that they too are humans. They too act and talk through their perspectives of their woundings, their shadows, their traumas, their limiting beliefs, social conditioning, family conditioning, so on and so forth, religious conditioning oftentimes, right? So whatever they say, however they act, we take it as the ultimate truth. We take it for granted. And sometimes, for a very long time, some people all their lives, they never question this. Right? They never questioned this. And if the poor little masculine, if you have been surrounded by distorted masculine and feminine energy, one of the qualities of the distorted feminine is manipulation. And this is what I want to talk to you about today, right? Women, feminine energy, again, you know that there is a percentage where it's non-gender specific, but for the sake of this video, I will be referring to the feminine energy as a she and the masculine energy as a he. So the distorted feminine that feels powerless, that feels insecure, right? That feels that she needs to control the outcome of the physical world and situations, which is not the role of the feminine, right? She feels she needs to control the man. She doesn't understand, because she's distorted, the definition of guidance. We're supposed to be oracles because we're connected to the void, we're connected to God, right? We're connected to universe, however you call it. We're connected to the divine element, to the divine knowledge. And through that connection, a healthy masculine provides guidance for you. And then a healthy masculine uses this guidance to lead in the physical world. But when that energy is distorted, the feminine that doesn't feel secure in her feminine role, she fears. She wants to control the masculine, to control his actions, not to lose him, to control the outcome of certain situations, right? And because she doesn't sit in a place of certainty in her power and in the power of their connection, whether that's your mother or your ex-girlfriends or any female in your life, whatever connection you had, the distorted feminine uses manipulation, right? So this is the why: to control the outcome out of fear of losing you. Sometimes it's this superiority to think that we know better what you need, we know better what you need to do. So it comes from a place of control, insecurity, and what I want to mention to you, that I want you to separate two types of manipulators, and we're going to get to that in a moment, but you have to understand that some of people who manipulate, right, will be very aware and very conscious of what they're doing. It's sort of a natural to them, right? Usually because that's something that they were taught, right? It's not like they study it and ask Google how to manipulate my man or my son, but it's sort of their second skin, because this is the toxic environment. This is this generational trauma that we talk about. They've been manipulated. Now they are manipulating, right? So despite the fact that they haven't actually studied and have done a masterclass on how to manipulate, they know how to do it. They know how to do it. It's sort of a natural response to your lack of security, powerless, feeling powerless, feeling that you can lose something or someone, or feeling that you want to control everything, including that other person, which takes away their freedom, which takes away their sovereignty, right? So some of them will be well aware of what they're doing. This is your classic evil telenovela mother-in-law, okay? She knows very well what she's doing. So she's going to be pretending. Again, I'm not going to be repeating myself whenever I say her. Try to identify this energy. It can be your mother, it can be your grandmother, it can be someone in your family, it can be your sister, it can be your ex-girlfriend. Divine masculines on this journey will have that manipulative energy in their life, right? So she will pretend to be loving and caring and want your best interest. Sometimes she might even have your best interest. She thinks, this is what she thinks. She thinks that she is so smarter and she is so better, that she knows better what is good for you, right? Which is complete lack of respect. And with a true divine masculine, it ain't gonna fly, right? Because you lead with strength. And respect and trust are the pillars of healthy divine union, but it doesn't exist in these relationships, right? So she's going to be, again, well aware of knowing what she's doing, that she is actually manipulating your actions. But there are going to be feminists in your life that are not going to be doing this from a malicious place, from a strategic place. It will just simply be out of response, and it happens more when that manipulations comes from a place of fear and deep insecurity. So those can be those girlfriends or those mothers that cannot handle their own life, that they're constantly going to be on top of you. Please don't abandon me. You cannot abandon me. You have to be with me. You have to do this. You have to do that. I just want to protect you. I cannot be. It's this codependency that is created through manipulations. Like, I need you. I cannot do this without you. I'm not going to survive without you, right? And pushing you into actions. They wouldn't even know what's your best interest because they're so deeply codependent, right? Then themselves, is this wounded bird, is this very wounded energy that is not acting from a place of maliciousness, but this terrified energy. It's not even fear. It's being terrified, right? So that's what I want you to realize, that it's not always conscious, but it sometimes is. And it's not always malicious. Sometimes it comes from a place of fear, right? So we now understand why distorted feminine does this, right? So now let's talk about two things, how she does this. There are two key things. Again, I'm not going to be going into like masterclass of manipulation. Not that I would know, because to be honest, I'm not the best at it. And in the very distorted moments of my life, I wanted to do it and I never knew how. It's an uncanny skill. Some women, those karmic connections, and remember, our journeys are very important. I'm not saying this from a place of superiority. So you watching this, you may not realize that just yet, but you and your feminine, you have a very important mission on this planet. So everything has to play out. We really have a lot of background dancers that have to do certain things in order to help us or wound us for us to actually be able to complete our mission, right? It's a chessboard. So you really may have around you like swift manipulators that when you really observe from an outside observer kind of perspective, it's just like, wow. Wow, it is just like watching that telenovela. You observe someone manipulating, and the normal person thinks, like, wow, I would not even think of that way of manipulation. It is this narcissistic talent to really spin things around, right? That is why it's so difficult for the masculines to get out of that, especially if you were raised in this mentality, right? So manipulators, use many techniques and many tools how they manipulate us, but bottom line, it goes to either creating a lot of confusion and insecurities about us being able to take our own decisions, so they will help us, they will rescue us. Don't worry, I will tell you what to do. Right? Hell you will. And the other element is they play on our insecurities. So manipulators have that natural quality. Again, those that do that willingly, they will have a radar, and those that do it unwillingly, they will simply feel it, because they know fear, they live in fear, they operate on a vibration of fear. So both will have that natural quality to identify the fear within you, the insecurities within you. So they will simply play on those insecurities, right? They will make you feel less. They will make you feel small. They will make you feel insignificant. Whatever is your point of insecurity, they will amplify it to then come forth and tell you what to do. Again, making it look like they're trying to help you through your insecurities and through you being in a place you don't know what to do. But in reality, they don't have your best interest at hand, because whoever has, never. I can tell you this, it may be unwilling and unconscious, but they never have your best interest at hand. Because the unconditional love of a true woman is that bird that gets the child bird out of the nest. Go! Take your own decisions. True love means that whoever I love, I want them to be independent. I might not be here. Even if I give the best of advice, I want you to be independent. This is your life. I want you to live your life. I want you to take your decisions. I want you to have your freedom. True divine energy understands how important the sovereignty of human being is, and they would never attempt to take it away from you. Now, the fact that you actually give it away is a whole different story, and we'll mention that in a moment. But they will try to manipulate you through that confusion, through chaos, through insecurities, through making you feel and look small, and then bigger. Or if it comes from a place of fear, other way around, they actually gonna make you feel the big man, and they unwilling to live their own life, and they need you constantly right here, right now, because if not, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself, right? So something very, very difficult to overcome. And what it causes within the masculine, before we move to how you actually should examine that and start healing that, what I want you to know is what it actually causes within you, so you can recognize those patterns, so you can start connecting the dots, right? Your conscious mind may not be thinking, okay, these women are manipulating me, I have to start to think on my own, right? Because obviously the purpose of manipulation is for the manipulee, or is that the word? Not to realize that they are being manipulated. That's the whole purpose. Right? So you're not going to know. And the more women like that you had around you, you're not going to know. You can live 20, 30, 40 freaking years of your life thinking that your mother and your ex-girlfriends, or even your mother, your wife, whatever, they have your best interest at hand, and they don't, because you don't realize that, right? So But some part of your subconscious start to feel and understand at one point that there is an element of burden here, right? Because with these women, I cannot do what I want. I cannot be who I am. I cannot follow my passions. I cannot follow my path, because you start to realize that they have their own agenda that they want you to follow, right? And you may tell yourself that it's because they have your best interest at hand. Oftentimes, it can happen that that manipulative mother is going to tell you that the only reason that she's guiding you is because she is wise and she now knows, the suffering of life, and she wants you to avoid that. But it's still manipulation, right? So you will start to feel hopeless. You will start to feel like there's no escape, like you're a puppet in someone's hands. You may not call it, since childhood, manipulation, but you will be deprived of freedom, of authenticity, of being able to explore who I am, what I want to do. There's constant puppet master somewhere in my life, right? So naturally, you will develop that fear of being controlled, that defensiveness, that commitment issue. And one very important thing that I want you to realize is that oftentimes divine masculines have a lot of that distorted feminine in their energy. So they start to associate this energy actually with females. So you will start to think, okay, well, if my mother, my aunt, my whatever, my ex-girlfriend, my first girlfriend, well, it's all women then, right? Obviously, because we only have 8 billion people and you've met all 5, right? But I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to create comedy here. It's a natural response, especially if it happens from childhood, like I mentioned, because as a child, as an adolescence, as a young man, you don't realize, okay, we have 8 billion people, I've met 5. It doesn't mean that all women are manipulators, right? You don't think like that. You think they are your world. So you start to associate women with manipulation, with control, with wanting to control men, right? So naturally you start to fear. And oftentimes what happens, you build an armor, a defense mechanism that makes you really, really defensive to any incoming energy and any incoming information. So many times our beautiful masculines, it's some level of subconscious mind tells you that something is off. Something is off. I don't have freedom here. I don't have my life here. I'm not in control here. Something is off, right? So you develop, without you knowing, it's all subconscious. Fear of commitment, fear of trust, fear of forming those new relationships. Now, someone actually healthy may come in your life, and it's something that I've encountered very often with the masculines. And oftentimes, this is your feminine. This is your feminine. Granted, as you meet, she will be distorted as well, but oftentimes it's not as distorted as your karmics, right? So you meet that feminine, or you start to even, meet other healthy feminines, and you receive advice, right? She provides you that guidance that I talked about, that this is actually the role of a woman. We are creation, we are initiation, we are connection to the void. So she intuitively feels something, right? You talk to her about, your job situation, whatever, and she intuitively feels something, and she says, perhaps you should consider this as you take your decision. She's not saying you what decision to take. She's not using manipulation. She's bluntly, openly, and honestly giving you not even advice, suggestion of a point of reference, point of initiation in your thinking pattern, right? And you react, no, don't tell me what to do. right? It's just this defensiveness of wounded masculine who has suffered manipulation and reached that point that you don't know why, but you're like, no more, right? So to an actual incoming advice, not just from your feminine, not just from other feminines, healthy feminines, it can also be from other men, healthy masculines. Someone mature, someone normal is actually trying to give you an open advice, a guidance coming from a place of honesty and their own experience and wisdom, not in a place of manipulation, right? But you react with defensiveness, right? And in the same time, you're still allowing yourself to be manipulated by others, because true swift manipulators, they don't come forth saying, listen, I want to give you an advice, this is my take, right? They do it masked. You don't even know when they're doing it. It seems like those are, I oftentimes, when I talk to my masculines, I tell them, I'm thinking of a specific situation from a reading that I recently done. It's the situation when, your feminine actually sits down with you and says to you, you know what, maybe you should consider this. And you're like, no, don't tell me what to do. And then your friend, your other female friend, is saying something that she's not speaking in a form like she's giving advice to you. It seems like she's talking about something completely different, but she's planting a seed of doubt that is directed specifically to you. And that is one-on-one masterclass manipulation. So I'm going to give you a specific example. Let's say you and your feminine, right? You have your societal issue is age gap. So your feminine is, let's say, 10 years older than you are, right? Or 15 years older. And you go out for drinks with your friends, and they know that you're seeing this woman that's 15 or 10 years older, right? So there's a female friend that has an agenda with you and is a master manipulator, and you don't know that. And she know likey that you with your feminine, okay? Because she has her own agenda. She's not going to sit down with you and say, oh, you know what, maybe it's not the best thing to do because age gap, it's very difficult, and sometimes it's... No. She's not going to do it. She's not going to be upfront. She's not going to be honest. Manipulation has nothing to do with honesty. Manipulation is devil, okay? So she's going to be there nonchalantly, pretending like she's speaking about something else, and she's going to say, you know what, I have this friend right now, and she or he, whatever, started dating someone, and there's this age gap between them, and they thought that it's going to work, but this happened and that happened. Oh my God, like, people don't understand that those are things that just will never work. Here it is. That's how manipulation works. It rarely comes directly. It rarely comes bluntly. You don't know when you're being manipulated. It's the essence of manipulation, right? And it's so very important for masculines to realize that. Because again, that realization will be your first step to breaking any shadow, to breaking any karmic pattern, right? And oftentimes, a lot of masculines, you don't have to just focus on a specific people. It's not like, it's a pattern, right? So it's not like, okay, my aunt is manipulating me, my ex-girlfriend is manipulating me, and my best female friend is manipulating me. So chop, 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 no more. No, it's not going to work. Yes, you'll have to eventually do that, right? Either cut them out or put in a very strong boundary, but you have to realize the pattern, because if you don't realize the pattern, where it's coming from, how am I allowing this, it will come back to you with another karmic. This is how karma works for masculines. Unfortunately, it's not just with that one lesson with that one person. If it's a pattern, you have to break the pattern. So now let's talk about, how do we know, how do we understand that, how do we avoid that, how do we build good defense system, not against anyone, but against manipulation. So first, very important thing from a spiritual perspective, very important thing, You have to develop your inner awareness, your self-awareness, which comes from three things actually: deep self-love, trust in yourself, and your intuition. They come together, right? They come together. Because when you truly think about this, if you think that someone who is not you has more knowledge and more power to rule your life and decisions in your life, it can only really come from a place of you not loving yourself enough to trust in yourself. To be like, you know what? Thank you for your advice, but I know what to do. I know myself. I know my path. I know my truth. I know what I need to do. So oftentimes, remember, what did I say? Manipulators feed on your insecurities and your confusion. So the more you eliminate insecurities, the more you eliminate confusion in life, they're not going to be able to manipulate you. Think about the example that I've given you. If you are in a place where you truly are already in union with your feminine, I know this is my queen, I know this is the other half of my soul, I know our mission. No person who says, oh, it's never going to work out if there's an age gap, you would even either completely ignore it, or you will stand up and educate them that what they just said, it's nonsense. Because this is why we come here, side note, to do, right? To break the paradigm, to break the illusion of what people think that love really is. That's why we always have societal issue. To break that freaking social conditioning that is imprinted in our minds like a freaking implant, okay? So if you truly stand in your truth, if you stand in your power, if you really know what you want to do as a job, or what's your path, no person giving you any kind of advice will be able to sway you of that path. So your security, your awareness of self, your inner truth, connection to your path, to your soul, to who you are, to what you want in life, is very important. Spirit is saying, a side note, maybe it's going to be useful for some of you, is that when certain things in your life are in initiation process, incubation process, keep it to yourself. This is often when those ideas are vulnerable, because we're not yet sure. So you're meeting someone new, you're not yet sure. Don't talk about this. You have an idea for a new business, you're not yet sure how it's going. Don't talk about this. It's a low vibrational energy, right? Allow it to grow within you first. Build that relationship as well with yourself. It's very important. That self-love, that trust. I trust myself. I don't need your advice. So when you come into that moment of realization, right? When you're already masculine on a journey, knowing that, okay, I have been manipulated. I have been, surrounded by karmic patterns and connections based on manipulation. How do I break that? Because our beautiful masculines, you're so sensitive that one of your biggest things that you need to overcome is that you're prone to lock your heart. Instead of heal something and understand, what did I say? There's 8 billion people. The fact that even 10 betrayed me doesn't mean that everyone would, okay? I just have to change something internally to choose better for myself. That's all it is, right? That's all it truly is. So when you are in that moment, then you start realize certain things, and you're thinking to yourself, well, okay, some people are pure evil or pure weakness, and then manipulate for their own agenda, and some people are not. How do I know? How do I know? Perhaps in the past you've had many situations when you thought that someone new coming into your life, a new friend, a new woman that you were dating, you thought that but it resulted in another lesson. So how do I know, right? How do I know? I'm going to repeat that again. trusting your intuition, developing really good, because intuition is nothing else than our soul trying to communicate with us. And our soul vibrates on a very specific and unique frequency. Now, your divine feminine will have the exact same frequency. That is the only object in the universe that has the exact same frequency. Your higher soulmates, be it family or friends, and lower soulmates, right, will have very similar frequency. Higher soulmates almost same, lower soulmates very similar. And then random souls or karmics will have very opposite frequency, right? So if you're really connected to your intuition, that inner voice of your soul is really, it knows it is that frequency. Soul is that frequency. So it immediately recognizes. It's like a radar. Yes, right? This is why you feel that pull towards your feminine. This is why you intuitively know that this is home. This is where you're supposed to be. But your mind, the woundings, the armor, the self-limiting belief, the social conditioning, right? It's all playing out around, numbing that frequency. So trust yourself. Connect to yourself. Connect to your intuition, right? Sit with yourself. Observe your body. Your body communicates to you as well. You are with this person. How do you feel? Oftentimes, that opposite frequency causes emotions in our body, causes anxiousness, causes what we call butterflies. We think that it's excitement, we think that it's passion, but it's actually not. It's actually our body trying to send us a signal that something is off. And granted, sometimes you might be very nervous with someone but it's who is like of a similar frequency, like a soulmate or a twin soul, but it's not going to be coming from them. It's going to be coming from you, because you are sitting in anxiety or low self-esteem, right? But it's a whole different topic. So you also have to differentiate how's it coming? How do I feel with this person? How do I feel with this person? How they make me feel? How the gut in my body is responding. What's your gut telling you, right? If you struggle, masculines, you don't have very strong connection on this journey, especially in the beginning of this journey with your spiritual guides. But if you have a shred of that in your mind already, you can ask for a dream. You can ask for your guides to send you sensations around this person and strengthen the body sensations around this person, right? So you just observe your body, observe your thoughts, observe how you feel every time you get back home after seeing this person, right? Do you feel better? Do you feel lighter? Do you feel uplifted? Do you feel like you can conquer the world? Do you feel empowered? Do you feel smarter? Do you feel, oh, okay, I can do this, yes? Or do you feel down? Do you feel drained? Do you feel exhausted? Do you feel like you're overthinking more? You have more doubts? You doubt yourself more? How do you feel? Because every other person affects our energy body, right? So observe that. Second thing is, in new relationships, take things slow. Take things slow. Take your time. Manipulators use techniques of pressure, love bombing, if it's a romantical relationship, to push you into certain commitments, into certain things, without you even having a space to think about this, right? So a healthy, if we talk about dating, right? A healthy feminine, if you with love and respect, explain to her that you want to take things slow, that, but you still connect to her with consistency, she's never going to push you into anything. She will want clarity, but she won't need speed. She will want commitment, but not a constant presence, right? Because she's independent. So people who are manipulators usually don't respond well when people say, hold on, let's think about this. And even if it's your parent or whoever that is, they're pushing you into a decision, they're pushing you into something, they will never respond well, because fear doesn't like patience, right? Patience comes from a place of love. So whenever you will put in that, let's think about this, let's sleep on it. I don't know. I have no answer for you. Let's take it slow. Let's get to know each other. Let's get to know this idea. They're going to like it. So you can start implementing that to truly feel how mature and high vibrational the other person that you're dealing with actually is. Another thing that you can do, and it's something that it's very tricky for the masculines, because you sometimes use that. You sometimes use that too. So trigger warning. Without you knowing, because remember, manipulation, it takes a victim to create a victim. What do I always say? So if you are raised by manipulators, chances are you're going to know how to manipulate as well. And you can be the subconscious one. So oftentimes you are a victim of manipulation, but you very well know how to manipulate as well. And it's another thing that you have to stop doing, because we don't attract what we want. We attract who we are. So if you still sit in a place of locked throat chakra, you use bypasses, you use manipulations, you use white lies. It's like, I'm not lying, but I'm not telling the truth, right? Wink, wink. You can be doing this subconsciously, but you're going to be attracting that, because universe is constantly teaching you a lesson. And it's a natural thing. It's a natural thing. It's law of attraction. You always attract the vibration of what you're off. So if you're emitting the frequency of, you're vibrating on a frequency of manipulation, of deceptions, of, right? So the thing that I wanted to say that you have to be careful, and oftentimes it's something that you do with your feminine, is words are not matching actions. Manipulators don't match their words with actions. So they're going to be talking a lot, they're going to be promising, but then it's not going to be matched with actions. Someone who is truthful, I say something, I will do it. Okay? Sorry. Confirmation. So I say I'm going to call you. I'm going to call you. I say I'm not going to have time next week, but please stay put. Right? I may send you some random messages, but next weekend I will see you. That's what they're going to do. People who are truthful, people who are honest, their words match with their actions. And also when it comes to themselves. So manipulators talk a lot about themselves. Oh, I do this, I do that, They create an image, a false persona. But then it doesn't actually match what they do in life. It's a facade, it's a lie, right? So watch for that. If you really want to teach to know a manipulator, observe. What is it that they're saying about themselves, about their dreams, about their life, about what they want from me as a relationship, and see if it matches their action. And I want you to really be bluntly honest right now and recognize that pattern within yourself. Because again, chances are that you're not that, aware manipulator. Because us twinnies, we're old souls. We're not evil. There's not a chance. I always say this to my feminines, that if you are connected to someone who is deeply narcissistic, it's not a twin flame. We're kind souls. We're pure souls, right? We've lived enough lifetimes to vibrate on a high enough frequency to be able to hold this journey, because this journey is very hard, right? So you most probably do it out of place of fear, or you're not even realizing you're doing this. In a moment, you feel the rush of the moment, so you promise something to your feminine, and then bam, you disappear. But in the end, it is manipulation. You said something in a moment without really thinking it through, because you wanted to achieve certain objective. You wanted to make her happy, you wanted to reassure her, or you wanted to make her stay or make her see you. But you're not pulling through with these actions. So watch out for that. If you now want to remove these manipulators from your life, that is how manipulation operates, right? Another thing is really observe the values of this person, because people who use manipulation, they usually don't have strong set of values. Again, we're going to have those two types of people, right? So one, they're going to be very low vibrational. I'm conscious that I'm manipulating, so they're just simply not going to have values, because they don't care. They like this. They change constantly. Whatever is needed at certain moment. They don't have values, right? So those are not people that they loyal to the core. They honest to the core. They truthful to the core. They're not deceitful. They're kind. No. They're not going to have values. They're not going to have strong beliefs about certain things, strong opinions. And that other type of manipulator that comes from a place of fear, they also not going to have values, but not because they're not good people, but because they're too weak. They think what others tell them to think. That those women, those mothers, right? If you maybe have that mother who would manipulate through that weakness, or that ex-girlfriend, usually they don't have these values because they just adopt the values of their spouses or their fathers because they're too weak, because they're taught from childhood that they're not good enough to figure out their own values. So they're just confused, coming from a place of deep fear, right? So focus on that. Does this person have values? And the last thing, and the biggest thing, truly the only thing that I could tell you, if I could completely erase this video and make it 3 seconds, boundaries. Boundaries, okay? Strong boundaries. Manipulators hate boundaries. Narcissist people who manipulate, whether it's for weakness or consciously, they hate boundaries. And you are allowed to have boundaries. And boundaries, my dear masculine, is something that will let you know, am I connecting to a soulmate? Am I connecting to someone, even if it's not a soulmate, let's take it aside. If I'm connecting to someone who is mature and respectful, the moment you put in boundary, someone who is mature and respectful, they will respect that boundary. Okay? And unfortunately, this is something that we struggle on the level of, this is something that we struggle with on the level of our dynamics. So be mindful of that as well. Because you, with your feminine, you are also not happy for whenever she has boundaries. Whenever she sets a boundary with you and tells you, listen, if you're not able to be consistent with me, I don't want this relationship. This is usually the moment when separation starts. Because the feminine, when you meet, she's wounded. She has such a low self-esteem that she has no boundaries. So she doesn't set those boundaries with you because she's incapable of. She's in such a despair. She's such longing. She's so pulled towards you that she cannot set a healthy boundary and tell you, you are hurting me through this behavior. I don't want this. I say no, right? She allows you unknowingly to manipulate her to get the outcome that you want through false promises, for not matching words with actions, right? For sweet words. So observe that, because oftentimes you feel like you don't know how to recognize a manipulator, but on some level you will be that manipulator too. And it's a hard pill to swallow. But again, it's because you've been raised by manipulators. But it doesn't change the fact that you have learned to flock with them. You adapted their behaviors without you knowing, so we have to realize that. Because if you would be the one giving that advice to your feminine, you would say, if you want to avoid manipulation, just set a boundary with this man. And the moment we do it, you're gone. Gone with the wind, under a rock, separation starts. The moment we start saying, no, you're gone. And that's how you know someone is a manipulator. So if you want to be sure that you're connecting to someone who isn't, just set a boundary. Boundaries protect our values. So whoever has values will understand that and will value that. Manipulators hate when you have strong values, and they hate when you have character, and they hate when manipulators always feed on weakness and insecurities. We've established that, right? What I want to mention to you one more time, few more things for today's episode, is how to deal with these people, right? Because let's imagine you're sitting in a place where you're already in an awareness of this journey. So you start to realize, okay, karma is something that I work on, okay? I want my life to be a little bit better. I want my life to be a little bit right. So I don't want these low vibe people around me. So now if we're going to be talking, and I talk about this a lot, that with karmic connections, when we talk about someone who is abusive, who is narcissistic, who is pure evil, it's really not that hard. With a minimum of self-love, you're going to start like chop, MFers, okay? Bye. Ain't going to be a problem. You're going to need minimum of self-love. And on this journey, sooner or later, you will develop it. Because as us feminists, we awaken to this journey. The first thing we start to work on is our self-love, is our self-value. Because you reminded us who we really are. Right? You exposed through those triggers the frequency of our soul that is shouting for us to hear. Wake up. The bar is supposed to be here, not on the floor. Right? So we start to develop that self-love, and we lead spiritually. So you will follow. You will start to feel that. You will be showing signs, synchronicities, situations from your guides to start to tell you, damn, I don't deserve this. What do I always say to you, my beautiful masculines? Who told you you're not good enough? Someone, but it ain't true. Right? So you will start to develop that, and you will start slowly to see and start to cut out from the most toxic, horrible people going upwards. And you will reach that moment that you will realize that there might be some people who, yes, they're distorted. Yes, they manipulate, but they're good people. Maybe it's that mother of yours. Maybe it's that, grandma. Maybe it's that sister. That, or that, friend from childhood. They love you, right? They really love you. They're not manipulating you from a vicious place, but they live in a place of fear. They fear for themselves. They fear for you. They fear for their relationship, right? But they're good people. And you don't want to remove them from your life. So how do you do this? What do you do? Boundaries are the answer here, right? So you have to develop boundaries, but first you have to just recognize, I love you. You're a good person. I know you love me. I know you have my best interests at heart. But no, you have to stop telling me what to do. If it's someone that you feel like you could have that conversation with, that listen, thank you, but no. Try that. Honestly is always the best policy. But if you feel like it's someone that is just not going to fly, it's not going to help, develop compassion, right? Connect to your feminine. We embody compassion on this journey. It's our blueprint. It's yours too, we're one soul, but try to find that compassion deeply within you and try to understand they're just afraid. They're just afraid, and switch the narrative. Build those boundaries, right? Whenever they're too needy with you, whenever they want too much things from you, whether that's they're dependent on you emotionally or they're dependent on you financially, start putting in boundaries. And if you truly value them, if you truly want to help them, stop giving them a carrot and start giving them a stick. Okay? Start giving them tools. So if that person is someone who, for example, is financially dependent on you, they don't have their job, they don't know what to do, right? And you keep having like free jobs to pay both of their bills. Try to help them to solve the situation. What can we do for me not to constantly send you money, but maybe manage this money, this resources better, right? Or if there's someone who constantly feels alone, abandoned, and that neediness comes through that. They want you to be with them all this time, come to visit them and call them, and right? Again, start from boundaries and saying that it doesn't make you feel comfortable. It has nothing to do with how much you love them, but it doesn't make you feel comfortable. You have the right to live your life the way you want to. You're free. Your mother is not for you, to call her every day and live with her and until the day she returns to the spiritual realm and pay her life. That's not what parenthood is about. Okay? Start helping that person. Why do you feel that lonely? Why you think you're so codependent on me? Perhaps you could work on this. Maybe we can find some solutions, some techniques. I've been working on this too. I want to help you. I want you to feel independent. Okay? It may be a slow process. It's very complicated. I really feel for you, my dear masculines. It's so, all interconnected. All your woundings are interconnected. That's why it's so important to understand them deeply. But that manipulation, it goes back to your worthiness wound. It goes back to lack of boundaries. It goes back to avoidance. Because being a victim of manipulations creates avoidance as well. It's not the only thing that creates it, but it amplifies it. Right? Because you start to fear commitment, you start to be defensive because you don't want this anymore. If you're already dependent on 2, 3, 4 people, why on earth would you want to risk it and meet someone new? God forbid they're going to be another vulture. So it's only natural defense mechanism of your armor, of your ego, to become avoidant. So I hope what I said was somehow helpful to you. And what I want you to do right now as a starting point, educate yourself and learn on love and healthy relationships, okay? You can start from the episode that I've done about divine masculine, divine feminine, and healthy dynamics. You can, if that resonates more to you, you can seek advice from self-help books about human nature, psychology, self-therapy. Educate yourself, what does it mean, a healthy relationship? But what I find works best, because you always connected to your feminine, right? And you always connected back to the divine. So try to just contemplate, maybe through connecting to nature or doing something that you really love, or just contemplation, and on a Sunday morning, looking through the window with your coffee, or laying in bed at night. Think about the ideal woman, but from a place of heart, from a place of vulnerability. Your feminine is that, but putting that aside, here I am, sitting at my table, looking through my window with a cup of coffee on a Sunday morning. If I had a love of my life with me, a true partner, a true mature partner, how would she be? Would she be someone who, hides her feelings, shames me for my feelings, amplifies my insecurities, makes me feel small, constantly wants something from me because she cannot, alchemize certain things within herself, constantly makes me feel bad, constantly picks up fights, creates confusion and drama in our life, makes me feel small to feel better? No. If you are in that moment and you really imagine that perfect morning with your feminine, she would come to you. She would hug you. She would sit on your lap. She would nurture you. She would give you love and care. She would ask you, what do you want for breakfast, my love? So why would you choose something that is not that? And granted, manipulators can provide you certain things that are very, shiny and nicely looking. But go back to a place of peace. Is this person giving me peace? People who are of high vibration, people who are true, people who are just, people who love us, they bring the feeling of home and peace. I love you so incredibly much. You're doing amazing. And I will see you tomorrow.